days preceding his departure, I'll be like giddy with anticipation, like I get the place to myself, I can do whatever I want, watch the TV I want, I can think in a productive and satisfying way while I walk the dog. Instead of talking to him, I can watch ASMR while I eat lunch and things that I normally don't do when he's here. And that is kind of fun, but obviously it's much better when he's here. So the sheen of all of that freedom and kind of expansive nature of the day or the days wears off really quickly. So starting with Friday. On Friday, we went to a movie premiere, but not a like capital B premiere, more like a screening for friends and family. I am not a direct friend or a family member of anyone involved in the movie at all, but a friend of a friend was involved in the creation of the movie, so we got tickets and went with our mutual friends. I was really glad that it was just a low-key screening because it had been called the premiere, and I had very few details on it for most of the week, and then last minute my friends like filled in all the details, and I realized it was more casual, and I was very glad for that. Just because lately there's been a lot going on work-wise for us here, so one less thing to think about was nice. The movie was good. It was good towards the end, like the latter third. I would say it started to feel like a very, very good student film. And I say very, very good because it had vision and point of view and like an aim and a project. It had something it wanted to say, and I think it said that thing in many ways that were smart and clever and true. But there were just little things here and there that I thought could have been improved with a little editing of the script or of the movie itself, like a scene or two. The way it was shot introduced just the tiniest bit of bloat. Like it was unnecessary and slightly confusing. Little things like that. Or the way it ended didn't quite click for me. I could see the attempt of a click, but it felt a bit convoluted maybe, or why did it feel unsatisfying? It felt a little messy in terms of extra bits and bobs, but not in terms of success or not success. It was successful. Anyway, afterwards there was a Q&A. I love a Q&A. Let's talk to the director or the actor, whoever, and like hear a little bit about their process, right? Great. The only bad thing about Q&As at any kind of event is when the audience gets to ask questions. I would say 4 out of 5 audience questions are like, but that's just me. This Q&A, however, the audience It was so uncomfortable. So the movie ends and the credits are rolling. Down the screen, all the little names, the credits are rolling. And the director and an actor go up to the front of the theater to sit in the chairs that have been placed out for them for this Q&A. And they go, hey, it's like us, we're gonna do that Q&A. They're like, our moderator isn't here yet. Our moderator's not here yet. But she's coming. And we just didn't want there to be dead air, so we came down. Which I think is right. Like, they were right to do that, because if they hadn't, people would have forgotten about the Q&A or assumed it was called off or lost interest, and they would have left. So that's cool. The two of them down there, though, are kind of a mess. They're fine, but they're just rambling. They are just treading water, stalling. Then the moderator comes in. They're like, oh, the moderator had gone to the bathroom. She'll be right back. So we're just listening to them ramble. And then 5 minutes later, which is kind of a long time, like in this situation, this woman comes into the theater from the bathroom. It's the moderator. They're like, oh, please join us in welcoming our Q&A moderator, so-and-so. We will call her Alyssa. They're like, welcome Alyssa. We're all like, yeah. So she sits down, and I don't even know if I can do this justice, but I'm gonna try. She goes, like, the first thing out of her mouth is like, hey, kind of thing, and then she goes, so, director, like, you had written a short that this is based on, a 15-minute short, like, back in the day. And the director's like, yes, waiting for a question, but a question never comes. She's just like, yeah, a short. And the director's like, yes. And then the director, thinking on her toes, is like, yes, I wrote a short. And like, she says some about the short, but because she wasn't set up with a good question, she kind of salvaged it, but I feel like we didn't really get to hear, as audience members, anything you might actually want to know about the process of having this short and then transforming it into a full-length movie. So it was very unsatisfying. Then the moderator takes over again, and she goes, and like, you director and you actor, I know you were friends, and like, you guys have known each other forever, and we're all like hanging out in the city together, and like, oh my god, like, we've just been friends forever. No question. And the director's like, yes. And then, like, the actor kind of says something, the director kind of says something. It's a freaking mess. And finally, the moderator kind of comes to and is like, how did you two meet? And it's funny because it's the only question she really asks this entire time. And I feel like she asked it because she realized she didn't know how they met, and maybe was personally actually interested in the answer or something. So then they tell us how they met, which is just that they did the same theater program together, essentially. And the music comes up of the movie, and she goes, yeah, like, we used to play that music all the time, remember when we were in the city doing coke? And like, first of all, that sentence would never come out of my mouth, but second of all, if I had said that as a moderator, I slipped up. I immediately would have offered another sentence right after to kind of like soften it, soften the reference, soften the word, and to make it less like the punctuation of the sentence and the point. But she didn't. She just said, yeah, we would play that music all the time when we were in New York together to go. And it became obvious that she thought she was the coolest person who ever lived. With like the second question, by the second question, so like the we're all friends question, my friend had already leaned over to me and was like, I think she's on drugs. And I kind of thought, oh, like she's doing a very bad job. But no, like, who would do that? You know, who would show up for their friends like that? So I was like, yeah, it is that bad. But I didn't think she actually was. But then with this comment about the music in the city kind of vibe, like, I was like, oh, she for sure is. And that bathroom break was, I guess, a necessary bathroom break, but not because she had to pee, you know? And I said to my partner, I was like, my friend so-and-so like thinks that this woman is on drugs. And my partner was like, I hope so. Otherwise, what is happening? She goes on like rambly stories. She starts sentences and fails to finish them. It's crazy. And then the people running the event are on either side of the theater, like in the back, looking at the director, the actor, and the moderator, like, okay, time to wrap it up. They're like, wrap it up. I'm just like, okay, we're getting signals to wrap it up, which is perfect, because that's the perfect amount of time for my last question. Spoiler, it's not going to be a question. And then she says, for my last question, and she goes, you know, that scene in the movie when they get married on that island during the pandemic, I went to that island, but nobody else was there. It was just a bunch of tick-covered deer, and it was so disappointing. And I was like, if I came here to party, I would have been so upset. And I was there with my family, and then it was so crazy. Like, when I saw it in the movie, I was like, oh my god, I've been to that island. That was her last question to the director and the actor about their film, a project for which they were very proud, you know, like, at one point too, she was like, yeah, totally, like, the pandemic, the, like, Instagram black square, do you post it or don't you post it? And everyone wanted to make you feel so bad about everything. But youth is fleeting, like, we don't get youth back. You don't have youth forever. That was another question of hers. It was crazy. It was wild, because I felt like any of my group, like my friends, me or my partner, with zero preparation, zero prior knowledge, having seen the movie once in that very moment, could have just walked our little butts up to the front of the theater, and we would have done a better job than this woman. And it was just such a shame, because all you have to do as a moderator, say you're not a good moderator, you know. Okay, like, say like you're flat and you're not very charismatic. It doesn't matter. All you have to do is lob softballs to the creators or the people that you are moderating for, the interviewees, the innovators. Just softball instructions so they can like spike. You're just setting and volleying, and then let them just spike the ball. That's all you have to do. And she failed to do that. So sometimes I forget that there are people out there who think they are it, and it's just, in my opinion, a very bad look. And I just forget that people like that exist, and then I see someone behaving in that way, and I'm like, oh yeah, woof. So after that, we went to a diner, which was really fun. It was very late, and me and my partner had an early dinner, but my friends had not eaten, and so we went to a diner at like 11 p.m. to have food, and as soon as we sat in the booth, my friend was like, I am so glad that we are here so that we can talk about that Q&A without anyone overhearing us, because that was whack. So unfortunately we talked mostly about the Q&A and not nearly enough about the movie, but we did talk about the movie too. But the point was to talk about the movie, and this really terrible moderator kind of stole the show in a way. So we did that. The diner was fun. We went home. We got home kind of late for us. Definitely late for the dog. Because no matter when we go to sleep, the dog will wake us up at the same time. So we didn't get a lot of sleep. Then Saturday, my friend was in town for a wedding and wanted to crash at our place, so we said of course. So she came by with her girlfriend, and it was nice to see them. She tells me that her girlfriend is the real deal, like they are in it for the long haul, basically. And I don't know her girlfriend well at all. And this is a really old friend of mine, like a high school friend who has seen me through every phase of life and vice versa. So if she says to me, like, this person is someone I'm trying to build a life with, then I absolutely need to meet them, get to know them, come to like them, because it's important to me. So I was really glad to have the chance to talk to her girlfriend, hang out with her girlfriend a bit, and get to know her. She's lovely. We actually didn't get to spend much time with them on Saturday because they arrived really late, so most of our hanging out and talking happened on Sunday. On Saturday, my poor friend, it was just one thing after the other with her. She was a little hungover, first of all, so we were meant to have lunch together. She was driving from another town, and we were going to have lunch together, the four of us. And in preparation for that, we had taken our dog on a long hike to tire her out, or to try to tire her out before their arrival. So my friend texted while we were on our hike, like, what about lunch? And I was like, maybe we meet after lunch because we're in the middle of a hike, And my friend said, that's actually really great for me because I happen to be hungover, and yeah, I'm like moving slow. I said, okay, no problem. Take your time, no rush. The funny thing too is later she told us how she got hungover, and it, some days, like, it just hits you. Alcohol hits you harder even though there's no reason. Like, she only had 4 drinks over many hours, but but she got like just like the energy drained out of her the next morning. Why can't I think of a better way to say that? My friend used the word blotto the other day. B-L-O-T-T-O. And I had never heard that before. So she was blotto, but she only had 4 drinks because she ordered 1 drink at dinner. And the bartender came over after the drink had already been delivered to my friend and was like, oh, I made it wrong. I mean, whatever the bartender forgot was a tiny detail. But they said, oh, I made it wrong. And so they gave her a second drink of the same kind, made correctly. My friend said, sick, I will take that. So she had those 2 drinks, and then they went to a bar afterwards with her brother and had 1 more drink. And then they went back to her brother's place where they were staying, and he said, like, does anyone want a nightcap? So they had 1 more drink. So just 4, but she got, like, just, I can't think of any word that works for this situation. I'm thinking, like, blazed, that's not right. Creamed is not right. Like, sloshed. But it's not really that she was so drunk. It's just that she was hungover the next day. Her dinner wasn't very big, and they had also spent all day in the sun at the beach. So that'll do it. Anyway, my friend was like, I'm hungover. I said, cool. So we get home from our hike, we have lunch, we clean for my friend's arrival, and then we're kind of waiting around for them. Like, okay, they'll be here soon, based on what they had told us. But then they weren't, and then like a while later, she was like, okay, we're coming now. And then she called again, and she was like, actually, I am so hungover that I forgot my dress at my brother's house. So, like, maybe I can wear one of your dresses, or he can deliver it. I don't know, or maybe we drive back. And I was like, do whatever's best for you. You can 100%, like 100% borrow one of my dresses. But, yeah, whatever's best for you. In the end, her brother, who was an angel, got on the train and, like, took it to where we are, and he got off at this stop. It was like an hour train ride for him, maybe, I don't know, and he had to get right back on the train, otherwise he was gonna have to wait a really long time to take it back home. And so he just left the dress on the barrier and said to one of the agents there, like, someone's coming up to pick up this dress in like 3 minutes, but I can't wait, I gotta get on this train. And the agent was like, alright. And so then my friend came, scurried, and like picked it up, so that way like people wouldn't think she was stealing it or something, I guess, or that it wasn't like a shady deal. I don't know. So it was just magically left on the barrier for her, and she didn't see her brother again, which I think is kind of funny. It was funny too, because normally I find it stressful to lend things out sometimes, which is like not a way I want to be, but sometimes it stresses me out. And so I told my friend she could borrow some of my dresses, or one of my dresses. And then after I hung up, I was like, ooh, did I really mean to say that? How do I feel about that? Of course, I was still gonna follow through, but then I was like, no, actually, that's really fun. And I was thinking of all the dresses that I would pick out for her and like let her try on and decide between, because I think she would look really good in green, and I have these 2 green dresses, and like I had some red ones, so she was down with that, and whatever. I had like 6 in my mind picked out for her to try on, or one that has a built-in belt her makeup done with me and my sister and the moms for my wedding, and I think that was a really nice moment for her. In fact, I know it was, because she told me it meant a lot to her, and it was a really nice moment for me. So I was kind of bummed because I thought of all these dresses, and I said to her too on the phone, I was like, you can borrow one of my dresses, like what's your waist size, or like what size do you wear typically, thinking that she might be smaller than me because she's super trim and I have like a little more flesh. But I forgot that she's taller than me, so actually our waist size is the same. And anyway, I was bummed that she didn't get to like have the whole friend boutique experience where I was gonna lay out all the dresses for her and let her choose. But I'm glad she got to wear the dress she had planned on wearing, because sometimes that's what you need and you're just so much more comfortable that way. Yeah, so we basically didn't see them Saturday because as soon as they got here, they had to get ready and then drive again to go to this wedding. But then Sunday, we were able to hang out, walk the dog together, get lunch, get breakfast, and they left at 6 o'clock at night. So it was a full day. And then we went to sleep. We were exhausted. We do let people crash here, especially when they're good friends. But it can be a bit complicated with our dog because our dog loves people and is a husky and is very vocal. And so at night, she gets kind of stirred up when everyone goes to bed and she wants to be with the guests. And she kind of sings and whines and things. So, it's complicated with her. Otherwise, it would be very easy and we might have slept better, but we didn't sleep that well Saturday. So then Sunday, we finally slept well last night. And today, I feel tired, but I feel way less tired. Way less tired than I did. I hope you are doing super well. And if you're not, that is okay too. Thank you for hanging out with me tonight. I will talk to you very soon.